Hello, welcome back to Mind, Body and Heart Art Therapy. So, given the new climate, the huge changes that are happening in our lives, wherever you are in the world, I'm sure you're affected one way or another by this pandemic, this COVID-19, and the life changes that come with it. Like most of us are being called to self-isolate and social distance and self-imposed quarantine, whether we have the symptoms or not. And that can be quite scary, right? All of it can be quite scary. So I decided to make these videos much more often with a pick a card to give support and, if necessary, guidance for those out there that are in need of this right now. So these are messages from Spirit to inform us, in a sense, what is it that we're working with in this season, this particular time, So let's just say that this video is about what is my biggest challenge and what am I learning from this experience, right? It doesn't have a limited time period because this quarantine can last for a long time or for a short time. It's more for a period that you can set up for yourself right now in your mind. Say, for example, okay, this will be for the next 1 month, but this could also just be for today. Because we spend so much more time with ourselves, we're indoors, everything can pass through our minds. We can go from state of extreme fear to being chill and relaxed and so on. And for myself, for example, I find it very useful in times when I feel ungrounded or when I feel I'm losing perspective to watch this type of videos or to go to the tools that I have to help me get back into alignment and get centered again. So here you are. They are the 3 piles. You can choose one of them, whichever works for you. Which one attracts you, that's pretty much the point, right? Whichever you feel more attracted to. I'm sure you've done this before. If this is the first time you're doing a pick a card reading, well, the guidelines are very simple. Just allow your gaze to go to just how to say that? My goodness, I'm losing my ability to speak. So allow your gaze to just rest on the 3 piles and see which one attracts you more for whatever reason. Don't think too much, just allow yourself to see which one pulls you towards it. All right, so this will be pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. I'm gonna start now with pile number 1. See you guys later. All right, so pile number 1. This is I don't know what this is actually. It's a piece of wood, really. It's probably a stone of some tree. I found it in Thailand in a monastery. I was doing a retreat and I needed something to ground, and I found it on the grounds of the monastery. It really just feels like wood, and it's like wood, and it's very, very nice, and it's one of my favorite artifacts because I really needed this at the time, and it became very significant to me. I literally programmed it to be a grounding force for me, along with this other one of the stone. All right, so maybe wood has significance for you. That's pretty much the base material. And I have 6 cards from the Rider-Waite deck, 3 cards from the Heindel deck, 2 cards from Crowley, and 1 card from the Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. So let's see what's going on for you. What's the lesson that you're learning from in this period that you chose for yourself? Whether it's today, whether it's 1 week, whether it's 1 month, it's your choice. You set this. Keep that in mind. All right. So we have the Six of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Queen of Wands, the Page of Swords. Okay, so these are the one more, and the Page of Wands. All right. We have the Ten of Stones, which is called richness in this deck. The Five of Swords, which is called defeat in this deck. And Princess of Cups, which is basically the Page of Cups. And from the crowd, we have the Ace of Wands and Seven of Wands. And you have the Five of Wands as well. And the Queen of Wands, the Page of Wands, a lot of wands in here. But yeah, there's actually a little bit of everything. There's some stones, there's like pentacles, there's some swords as well. There you go, 2 cups, and they're the same pages. All right, and this is the lion and the deer. Beautiful. We'll get back to this one later. I just wanted to show the cards. Usually my readings go with slots. Even though I had a long period I didn't use slots, and this would be always the final card. But right now it's a different type of reading. So let's see what's going on for you. So I think with the Six of Pentacles and the Five of Wands, that you're really learning in this period how to use your energy. I'm talking specifically to people that are affected by this virus. That could mean quarantine. That could mean having to go to work. If you work in a supermarket, for example, you obviously are being exposed here much more than other people, or in some part of the service sector that are more or less demanded to come to work. You know, you don't really have much of a choice. Other people have a choice of sitting at home. Depends again on the country, on the subsidies, on whatever is going on, or your type of work. But and also it can be a lot about can you do homework or home office or not, this type of stuff. But also being at home, how is that going on for you? Being at home alone, or maybe for flatmates if you live with flatmates, or with your friends, or with your family and children and so on, or your entire family, maybe parents and grandparents as well. The situation can vary widely. But what's important here is in each and any case is how you're using your energy and how are you going to show up for yourself. You have 2 5s here. This is important because 5s are about growth and challenges. And this is a 6. This is about coming into service. So you see, this guy here is able to give, and he's able to give because he has enough, and he has this scale here because he always needs to make sure that he doesn't overgive, because if he overgives, he won't have enough for himself. Then he won't be in the position of giving anymore. And it's fine, sometimes we give, sometimes we take. That's not the point. The point is learning how much can I give without doing damage to myself, without putting myself at risk, so I can stay balanced. And also how much can I take. So sometimes it's not just about giving, it's about being in the other position. Am I able to take? Some of us, we just don't know how to receive, And that can go quite deep, actually, with not knowing how to receive. It sounds so beautiful. Oh my God, yeah, I'm such a giver. I don't know how to receive. It's almost poetic. We can create a hero archetype around it. But it's not that much like, it's not really like that. When we don't know how to receive, it can manifest in ways that are not so easy to foresee. For example, if I'm in a conversation and I just want to give, I just want to, you know, put things out there and give my wisdom or my sharing or my life experience, but I'm not able to open up to hear or listen to what the others have to say, to learn from their life experience, to receive their wisdom. That's just an example, but that's one of the reasons why it's so important to understand that being able to receive is also very, very useful, and it's a life lesson that we need to get. So somehow I feel like it's deeply related to this for you, upon number one, because it is definitely a trying time for all of us, and we can all learn about this lesson. But somehow, coupled also with the Five of Wands here, I feel like you really need, maybe you feel the need to prove yourself a little bit too much sometimes, and maybe you end up as I see this going maybe towards overgiving more as or at least seeing yourself as an overgiver. Um, And maybe that's because you feel like you need to prove yourself. You feel like you're always being challenged. You always have to go out there and show what you're made of. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. That's the point. When we're trying to prove ourselves to someone else, we're actually trying to prove ourselves to ourselves. And it's something that we're really learning in this period. And I think it's deeply important. And I think you're just waking up to this emotional understanding, not just rational, that we are all equal, that we really not what we are not our jobs, we are not our careers, we are not our roles that we play. Sometimes we think that I can value myself and love myself, and I am a valuable citizen only if I'm offering certain things and I prove myself to myself that I'm worthy of love, of connection, of respect, of worthy. But what you're learning through this is also that you don't need to overgive. You don't need to play that habitual role that you usually get as confirmation to yourself that you are worthy. It's not needed anymore. You find that you're going to have this, I think messages from your subconscious actually, where you're starting to understand more about your emotional needs and this need for validation. But with the Queen of Wands, the Page of Swords, the Page of Wands here, I think that you start seeing this glimpse of the Queen of Wands archetype that you embody as well. We can embody all of them, And for some of us, it's easier to embody certain archetypes or to go to a certain character and play a certain role. The Queen of Wands it's about maturity, but being like she's still a nurturer. All the queens are nurturers. They're the aspect of the feminine, but she's in the one suit. So that's about your belief system. That's about your spirituality. That's about your what makes you tick, your passion, your fire, your inner fire. And the Queen of Wands, she's the mother of beliefs. She is basically fire and water energy together. She knows how to be a role model in being incredibly grounded and connected with herself, but also connected to the other world, to the world of spirit or the world of I don't know, other dimensions, what do you want to call them? She's very mystical, she's very in touch with her fiery abilities. And I think that you embody this lady every once in a while. And maybe you're aware, there are moments where you can be very confident, where you're very comfortable with your sexuality, where you're very able to hold your ground without having to come out in an aggressive way. She's very, I think I said, I don't know, a million times. Sorry about that. Um, she's very aware of herself. And the cat here is telling us that she sees things beyond what's the misses the normal eye. That's why she's so connected. And the point is that you don't need to say it all the time. You can keep some things to yourself. Obviously, when we are in this enclosed environment with other people, we tend to see things that we like, that we don't like, things that they do that maybe we didn't notice before, where we make the connections or understand, oh, maybe that type of behavior is connected to, I don't know, what wound from your childhood that you told me about, I know, in confidence a month ago. And I start like making the math and telling them, maybe that's not helpful. You may be open to a lot of knowledge and understanding that is of a more spiritual nature at this point, but you can communicate it only when people are actually open to receive. And you may get a lot of messages. Communication, you're still a student of communication here. Learn to communicate it softly. Take your time with it, or notice when people are open to receive this type of information. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but that's your biggest lesson, I think, in this period of time. And I think that this gives you that type of personal growth on a spiritual path, learning how to work with your gifts, learning how to work with the messages from your subconscious, and learning how to work with your energy here, how you're putting it out there, and learning how to own also this, like, where am I coming from? Am I coming from a place of, I'm confident, I'm able to take care of myself, there's no fear here because I'm fully empowered and ruling, like, the ruler of my own vessel, I'm driving this? Or am I coming from a place I need to prove myself? That means that I need confirmation from other people outside of myself that I am this queen. Can you be this queen without having to tell everyone I'm the queen? And I think that you have you find yourself in an abundance. You don't need to worry too much about, like, because that's why you're in a position also to give. You don't need to worry too much about the financial situation right now, with this pandemic and everything. Somehow things are working out for you. It may not be for everyone. I mean, like, obviously some of us have financial difficulties, but people that picked this particular path seem to find themselves in a decent, like, maybe not panic about your physical situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have an abundance of money coming your way, but maybe you know how to work with yourself to not panic, to be present, to use the resources as they are. There are some people that are incredibly rich, but they're not necessarily because they have a lot of money, but because they know how to use their environment, they know how to use the resources that are available to them. I've seen, like, travelers that own maybe a backpack and they don't have much in their bank account, but they know how to use their own skills. So wherever they go, they apply the skills that not yoga teachers or this is just an example. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only way. Maybe I don't know, working in restaurants or whatever, and they really know how to enjoy life and themselves, and I don't know, make new connections and learn about new cultures and so on. That's just an example to show that you don't necessarily need to have a lot of money to feel rich and to learn a lot and to feel secure with yourself. So maybe you feel secure with yourself in this sense, in a physical realm. Seems though that you seem to perceive somehow, because this is swords, five of swords, is about the mind, some type of defeat. And I think it has to do with that whole feeling challenged all the time and feeling always the need to prove yourself. Maybe you feel that if you don't play the role that you used to play, whatever that was before and how it's changing now. Maybe you spend, I don't know, maybe you're a mother of kids, for example, and you used to take a lot of self-worth and self-validation from your job, going out there and being a team leader over I don't know how many people, and being able to really show those skills. Maybe at home it's not that easy to show those skills. The thing is that you do have nothing to show, and there's no defeat there. There's really no defeat. It's just a perception. It's of a story that your mind is telling you. I want to read this Five of Swords though. Let me see if I find the little booklet I have from this. It's very short. Five of Swords. Swords. There we go. So the Five of Swords says, can you see it? I hope you can see it. So oppression. The broken swords represent technology. The ancient unicorn is dying. The bubble is tainted with blood. Divinatory meanings. An overwhelming situation. Need to hold on to principles until the time comes to make a change. Oh wow, that does give a lot more insight. So an overwhelming situation, need to hold on to principles until the time comes to make a change. Okay, so this is why you have the Seven of Wands here. You need to hold on to your principles. You need to hold on to your belief system with the Queen of Wands and the Page of Wands here. And your belief system may be adaptable. You need to adapt yourself to the situation. But if you feel yourself overwhelmed, if this situation for you is overwhelming, you have the Daughter of Cups here. Is Bridget of Ireland. I'm going to read her too. Read her. This is Daughter of Cups. Bridget was a goddess of the Celts. When she was made a saint by Christian Ireland, she became patron of livestock and produce, as well as of poetry, prophecy, and divination. In the divinatory meanings, calmness and radiance, peacefulness and strength of character. I think you can embody this archetype of, like, you have the ability to bring in peace and calmness, you know. And this is your asset now. This is your asset in this situation. You have nothing to show, you have nothing to prove, right? You're learning about also which are of these principles that you need to hold on until the situation diffuses itself are actually working for you and are working in general. You know, these principles are being tested right now. And I think you're learning something new. You have like the Ace of Wands here. It's a beautiful awakening moment where you learn maybe which one of these principles and which one of these beliefs are actually serving you and which ones are not. So there's no defeat in here. It's simply there was that thing with technology, sorry, it just came to mind now. Symbolize technology and they're broken, the swords. Maybe you have some problems with technology as well, and maybe that's why it feels overwhelming. Maybe it's difficult for you to work from home given the technological difficulties. Um, Stick to your principles, the ones that are the core of your value system. I think and it's also important to remember that you give and take as much as you can, and it's important to bring it all from kindness. Where am I coming from? Being challenged or being kind? Being confident and okay with myself as I am, or coming from insecurity and fear? Okay, let's read this guy, the lion and the deer, number 22. Okay. Okay. No, wait, not there yet. Oh, wow, this is a long one. So the poem from Rumi says, when you enter the garden of the heart, you become fragrant like the rose. When you fly toward heaven, you become graceful like the angel. If you get burnt like oil, you become brilliant. When you become thin like hair in yearning, your joy leads the way. You'll be the kingdom and the king. You'll be paradise and the guardian angel. You'll be infidelity and you'll be faith. You'll be the lion and you'll be the deer. I like that. I don't know, it also stems from this fact that we are the one that perceive ourselves as I need to prove myself to myself. So I become both the one that's being challenged, but the challenger as well. You are the lion and the deer. You are bold, fierce, and vibrant, and you are silent, sweet, and gentle. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, it's a really long read, so I need to go to the guidance. Let's see what the guidance says here. Sorry, it's really hard to summarize this. Okay, the guidance this oracle brings you is that you shall prosper most now if you are willing to unbecome what you have believed yourself to be. Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. I hope I made that clear. So the guidance with this, I will read it again. The guidance this oracle brings you is that you shall prosper most. See with this richness here too. Now, if you are willing to unbecome what you have believed yourself to be, it was never really true anyway, that view. It was partial at best, and just a view, an identity, not a genuine reality. Some of your previous sense of self shall likely come with this transition into the fuller experience of your being, and some of that previous identity shall be shed as far too limiting. It just won't feel true for you anymore, if it ever did. Any crisis or confusion this brings, you shall be temporarily Any crisis or confusion this brings, you shall be temporary fuel to ignite the divine fires within. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna read this one again because I didn't get it, but now I get it. So any crisis or confusion that brings you shall be temporary fuel to ignite the fires within. They simmer into life, cooking you from within, bringing all of your flavors, spicy and sweet, bitter and sour, into perfect balance so that your being, your present, becomes an exquisite dish served up as a divine feast. You shall become nourishment for the world in perfect balance. Your being will hold all, for it holds all within it. So your being will hold all, for it holds all within it. It will deny nothing, and become a tonic to feed every taste, every appetite, every hunger, and every deficiency. What an extraordinary sublime meal you shall be! How your presence shall nourish the world. And it all begins with shedding the either and the or, and the recognizing instead the all, like everything. With such wild permission for unconditional love, you shall thrive in your beingness and feed the hungry world with a meal complete, satisfying, and exquisite. That is absolutely wonderful. It is wonderful if you think about it a little bit and not panic at this. You're just becoming like wider. This is the big insight that you're gonna get, that you can, by being yourself, by not just taking one identity or another, by not identifying yourself with this persona or this persona or this persona, but by allowing yourself to embody all and accept them all, you can be an expression of love and acceptance to the world and nourish the world as it is. So yeah, maybe having to be stripped of these identities with this Five of Swords, this is the overwhelming thing that you may experience. But stick to your principles. And if you understand the concept of unconditional love, I think that that's where your principles are really standing from. And see that, as I said, she's a nourisher. She's a queen. With such wild permission for unconditional love, you shall thrive in your beingness and feed the hungry world with a meal complete, satisfying, and exquisite. All right, pile number 1. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you all the best with your challenge. I hope this makes sense to you. If it does, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep posting this period, so stay tuned. All right, pile number 2. Pile number 2. So this is a stone. These and these are both coming from a temple in Thailand. I just picked them up one day when I really needed to ground, and I took them with me forever since then, because that's what they do for me. They keep me grounded and they keep me present, and they remind me of I have the ability to love myself. So yeah, it's a beautiful river stone. Actually, it's just a common stone, it's not a crystal. Hi, sorry, I had a interruption there. It's the next day now, and I'm coming back to the pile number 2 with as I think I mentioned already, the stone from the temple. Okay, let's see, what have we got here. So we have the Queen of Swords, the Fool, the Two of Swords, Page of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords. Maybe an air sign, there's a lot of swords here. Pile number 2. So yeah, this is like you set the timeline for this reading, right? Whenever you pump into it, it's the time for you to read it, but also it may be for just today, it can be for this 1 week, or it can be for 1 month, or for the whole period of this pandemic. You set the time as this reading is happening for yourself. Okay, have the Six of Cups, called Happiness, in this deck. Will you look at that? The Six of Swords, which is Science, and the Three of Cups, which is overflowing. Wow, nice. I have the priestess, basically the high priestess, and the princess of discs. And from Rumi we have cosmic heart. All right, my darlings, let's see. Okay, so in this scenario, and for you, pile number 2, the one who chose this pile, I think what you're learning in this period, what is your challenge, but also what you are mastering, basically, or you're asked to master, is how you communicate your boundaries and trust, really. Trust. You see, the Queen of Swords, well, she's been through pretty much everything. She's been through everything. That makes her very knowledgeable and also very well guarded. She's very defensive. She cuts things off way before it even happens. There's nothing that can touch her anymore. She won't be vulnerable, for sure. That's her archetype, right? She's also the mother of ideas, and she's a very good thinker. She knows how to, like, she's very tuned in with her mind, and her mind is very clear. And she has this superpower of understanding her own boundaries quite clearly and being able to communicate them. But she also needs to learn how to trust a little bit more. You know, when we are so fenced up, well, we just communicate our boundaries and that's it. I mean, we can miss out on life and life experience in general. Boundaries are very important, but they also need to be adaptable in a sense. You know, it's not a contract. And if we feel into our own boundaries, we can see that what I need now and what I needed yesterday may not be exactly the same. Yes, of course, there can be some very like base boundaries that make a lot of sense, that have to do with physical safety and have to do with, I don't know, nonviolent communication and things like that. But they are also, like, as we go deeper within ourselves and we touch into that part of ourselves that is innocent and still understands that it's more at stake than safety, you know? Yes, of course, it's nice to feel safe. But if we just stay into our safe zone completely and we're not pushing at all our boundaries and trying to expand our area of, like our threshold, then there will be no growth. It's just going to be like, yeah, you're a very well-guarded person and you hold your own space. Fantastic. That's it. And you don't want to reduce it at all, that. Only to that, I think. If you do, well, good luck. Congratulations, you're doing a great job. But yeah, I think that, you know, that's the thing with the Queen of Swords. She can be quite cold and quite sharp. And I think that with the Two of Swords here, there are some emotions here that you keep at bay. You turn your back on them and you act like a threshold guardian. Nobody can touch that, including yourself. You don't even see it anymore. And you don't even see that you're doing it. You don't see that you're closing your heart in here. You don't see that you're, like blocking yourself from experiencing everything, anything at all. But with the moon here, and this is number 2, twos usually talk about emotions. And with all the water here that she turned her back on, I think that you may have to explore that. You may have to go beyond this threshold. And trust that you've been through everything that you've been for a reason. And you had to go through this Queen of Swords energy. You had to learn to put your boundaries. You had to get to this understanding and master this. And you did. She's a queen. She's the top of her suit. But now there's something else asked of you, right? Okay, now that you're safe, you've put your boundaries quite clearly, you know how to communicate them quite clearly, you probably keep most of people at bay, at a distance. It's time to dive into those emotions a little bit, feel into it. The Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. I think you're opening up a new path here. The Page of Pentacles, you know, it's that type of transformation. You're starting growing. Seeing the value in a new approach to life, in a new approach to what feels safe and what doesn't. You know, we are only putting defenses against something that is threatening to me. If I feel, I don't know, weak in whatever way, if I'm afraid of, I don't know, falling in love, for example, then I will cut off all the guys or girls that I would probably, ladies and gentlemen, let's put it this way, that I would probably fall for normally, because they are threatening. I wouldn't have to cut off somebody who's not a threat to me, somebody who I don't actually like or have the possibility of liking. But if I'm not afraid of that anymore, then it's not threatening, right? That was just an example. Let's say I have a fear for cockroaches. No, that's a bad example. I have a fear of cats. And therefore I need to protect myself, no cats on the ground. But suddenly I realized that, I don't know, I go through a transcendental experience and I don't have a fear of cats anymore. Then I don't need to protect myself of cats anymore, right? I hope that makes sense. And I think you really start seeing it with the Page of Pentacles here, and you start working with it. You are asked to start working with it and set up the routine, set up the ability, the steps that you need to take in order to open yourself up a little bit more. And you're definitely getting like a deep insight from it. That's why I'm saying it's like you're opening up to a new path, a new idea, a new direction, a new mission. You have a new vision of how everything can be. And that includes happiness, and that includes knowing how to do it. So this is not just hard work. You're starting to get to the point of it. And you see, like, these are cups and these are two sixes. Sixes talk in general about coming into service, being able to get outside of oneself, you know, not being so self-protecting, being able to actually put myself out there. That means that I'm more relaxed. I'm not so defensive. I'm defensive when I'm acting out of fear. If I hold no fear, like the fool does, that's what the lesson of the fool. He has no fear because he has absolute trust in the universe that whatever happens, he's meant to have that experience. And there it goes. Happiness, overflowing, and science. Getting it. You're getting it. Like at the mind level. The mind is supporting you here. And the High Priestess, well, she's deeply connected to the feminine energy. Most likely, pile number 2 are females or people that have a lot of like the feminine energy have been deeply hurt and couldn't have access it easily. But with the High Priestess here, I think that you're getting yourself connected to that feminine energy. And Princess of Disc, that's another Page of Pentacles again. It's very interesting. It happened this pile number 1 as well. We had the Page of Pentacles, no, the Page of Cups twice, you have the Page of Pentacles twice. I will read the Princess of... Oh no, this is the... yeah, this is the Crowley. I don't have the booklet for this. I mean, I have the book, but it's on a different thing. Never mind. The Princess of this and the Page of Pentacles in general, it's somebody who is starting on the path. And the Princess of Discs in general, she understands how life works. She understands how nature works. She understands that, for example, hunting, see, she has a spear in here. She's not just a child anymore. She came of age. And she understands that, in order to eat, probably as a whatever, hunter-gatherer, whatever, and she needs to hunt. So obviously there's compassion and there's communion with nature, but there's also the ability to kill. There's also the ability to do whatever is needed to keep the safety of the tribe, It is beautiful to not want to harm, going vegetarian, vegan, and whatever. But imagine that at this time, there were no other options but to hunt. That's the cycle of nature. And I don't know, it's sad when a lion is eating a deer, but from Mother's Earth perspective, they are both the same thing. This metabolic process, it's not as dark from a cosmic perspective as it is for us, because we are part of the food chain in a sense, and we're empathizing with that. It's hard, it's a long talk, we're not going to go into that too much. There can be so many different opinions on it, and I don't want to open that debate now. I think the lesson in here is that you're understanding that whatever happened to you happened for a reason. You had to go through that experience. It's part of the maturing of the soul. It's part of nature's way of processing and learning. And, we're all fertilizers in the end. This all is impermanent. Everything is impermanent, and this is just the carcass that we're carrying. We are still part of the earth and of the whole... We're just cells in an organism, right? It's funny now with the virus and everything and organisms. But yeah, apparently viruses are supposed to be... I have read an article recently that those viruses are supposed to sort of challenge the dominant species as a way to bring back the balance of the ecosystem or something like that. The same way, like, for example, if there's again, it's this whole thing with nature, the Princess of Discs and the hunting. Let's say, for example, that there's an ecosystem, just this forest, and you have foxes and you have rabbits and you have, I don't know, and then suddenly there's too many rabbits, and then foxes will thrive and they will eat more rabbits, and they're going to thrive so much, there's going to be too many foxes, and then there will be less rabbits. Then some of the fox population will be reduced as well, and so on. They keep balancing each other up. That's pretty much what an ecosystem does, and it is very cruel to us, because we're thinking from the animal mind, of course. It's hard to make peace with the nature as it is. It's beautiful to say, oh yeah, let's be all in touch with nature, but actually nature is very rough. As human beings, everything that we have tried and thrived at was to fight against nature, to protect ourselves of natural death and causes of death. Now we have, I don't know, houses, and we have food supply in supermarkets, and so on and so on. I'm not saying that we should deny nature, we should work with nature, but we also need to understand nature and how it works. We can't just use a child's mentality and like that naivete that nature is just all benevolent goddess. It is in the big scale, but to us, what we're going through, we still gotta go through it. We still gotta eat. We're still gonna be eaten if you're gonna go meet a lion tomorrow, most likely, if it's hungry. If it's not, maybe it's just gonna crawl in the, not crawl, but it's like purr, whatever, or scare you off to protect territory. Again, long debate. Doesn't make sense to go too much into it because that's not the point. I think you get it though. With the Ace of Swords here, I think you understand what this is all about. If it's your reading, of course. Cosmic Heart. Let's see what this says. This is number 8. Yet another 8. Okay. So the poem from Rumi says, I was dead, I became alive. I don't know how we ended up talking a lot about life and death with this Prince of this gear, but there we go. I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I have seen everything, I have no fear. I have the heart of a lion. I shine like Venus. Well, it really is amazing how these things line up. You can't make this shit up, you know? Okay. I'll read... Okay, I read this introduction. Somehow it feels relevant. So I hear it and I weep. In sublime reverence, I bow to this living, beating, loving heart of the universe. It echoes throughout the all of creation. Once, some time ago, I was deaf. I had not heard the one true sound. Much noise but no truth. So I believed in many things not worth believing in. Then in a moment of my crisis that cracked my heart open, I was given a gift. Though I felt fear and confusion, a gift came to me more powerful than those temporary ailments. That gift was the ability to hear the sound hidden beneath all of life. I heard it, that sacred sound of the beating heart of the universal love. Now I know that belief in unworthy things like fear and doubt is lunacy. Even my loneliness became unconvincing to me. We are animated by this living heartbeat, part of life that is sustained by it. You and I, the planets, the birds, the fish, emerge from the great source because of this beating heart of the universe. It pumps life through our veins. What proof of this is needed? You live. That is the proof. I hear it everywhere now. It has become so loud, louder than any word of fear. It resonates through my soul and eclipses any tremor of anxiety. Okay, oh wow, that's beautiful. And it kind of fits with that whole beginning room. It fits a little bit the archetype, the Queen of Swords. Okay, let's go to the guidance. So this oracle comes with special guidance for you. More love is rushing towards you like a great cosmic tsunami. Probably that's why all this happiness is here and overflowing. You will struggle with this blessing to the extent that you will attempt to hold on to what has been. Don't. Let go. Let it move you. Will perhaps get some water up your nose, but nothing will come to you that you cannot handle. You'll be disbelieved. No, you'll be disheveled somewhat, undoubtedly. Yet as you are washed up upon love's shining shore, keeping every hair in place will be the last thing on your mind. You'll be too caught up in the wonder of perfection, realizing how deeply loved you are and how unnecessary it is to contrive a way to live your purpose. Instead, you'll have no idea what is going on. You'll be surrendered in passionate embrace with life, simply being your exquisite, crazy, unique self, saturated with divine love. It will drip from you, out of your feet, your eyes, your voice, your touch. You'll water the earth with love's oceanic presence. Oh, how that tsunami will deliver you into your divine destiny. No need for any contrivance. Let your hair get messed up. Your destiny awaits you now. Beautiful. Really beautiful. I hope that makes sense to you. Pile number 2. If it does, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you here soon with more readings. Okay, let's put this away. I'm gonna have to turn the lights on because it's getting dark in here. Before we get to pile number 3. Yep, I don't cut my videos, so... Okay, this is a protective stone. I forgot the name of it right now. Interesting. I'm sure most of you know it. If you're anything at all into stone, you must know it. It's quite common. But yeah, its role is to protect. Those are very grounding for me. That's protection. All right, so you have the Magician, the 7 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords, Judgment, the Knight of Cups, and the 3 of Swords. You have the 10 of Wands, and the 7 of Stones again. The 3 of Swords again. Wow. You have Gain here, the 9 of Pentacles, and the Universe. Okay. And here you have the all-encompassing hand. Right, my dear, seems that you're having what feels like a bigger challenge. Because of this 9 of Swords and the 2, 3 of Swords, this is very challenging energy. It's what we perceive as it's fear and pain, right? And mourning. You're mourning something or someone. Maybe you actually lost someone to this pandemic. Or maybe you lost someone in the past and this moment is somehow reminding you of that. Having to sit with yourself. Having to, you know, spend a lot more time alone or in the company of, you know, in a contained space. You have the Magician as the beginning of your reading, and the Magician is the Magician. He knows. He knows everything. Look at the infinity sign on his head. He understands the world. He understands how the world functions. That's why he's able to use the energy to create. He's a creator, the Magician. As above, so below, as within, so without. These are what are at the base of all magic, understanding that. He understands why we go through what we're going. He understands how the universe in itself functions. So you're gaining lots of wisdom here for this experience. I know this is not exactly balancing up or easing up your pain. The mourning has to be done. It's part of your process. You may be mourning a loved one that had passed away, or somebody who's just not with you anymore, or a change. You know, the Judgment shows huge change. Come on, the world is changes as we speak. Everything, life as we know it, is not going on the same way. It's just transforming, it's transforming into something else. Yes, it's a quarantine. Yes, it's a pandemic. Yes, somewhere functions better than others. Some places functions better than others. But definitely, everybody's closing their borders, all that. It's a big change. And there's always going to be a lot of fear that's going to come with this. But you are a wise one. You're the magician. You have the knowledge. Don't forget that. This is something that you need to come back to and allow your heart to open with the Knight of Cups here. The Seven of Pentacles and the Magician. I think that you can be an amazing creator. You have a lot of, as I said, deeper understanding of the universe. And now you need to come back from for wherever you've gone and come back here in the here and now, in the present moment, and live a little bit in this 3D reality, as it is. Put your affairs in order. Make sure that you have what you need and let go of what you don't need. Don't pile up what you don't need. Don't panic buy or, pile up things that are completely unnecessary. This Seven of Pentacles is a call that you need to really take stock of your physical reality right now. The Magician is also physical, it's coming into the world and creating the physical reality as it is. That might make sense to some, not everyone does, sorry. Hard to choose the language sometimes. Nine of Swords shows fear and anxiety, and it's anxiety of the future. You're afraid of this change that's coming with the judgment, and for good reason, of course. We're all afraid. We have to be. We should be afraid, because otherwise we don't do anything. We just carry on with life as it is. Fear is here to inform us. It has its wisdom, but we can't succumb to fear, because if we succumb to fear, we're just going to, we're not going to be able to act. We're not going to be able to be present. We're not going to be able to adapt to however way we need to adapt and play our role in this. Fear is a very powerful ally, but also it can be the end of us if we don't allow ourselves first of all to feel it. With the Knight of Cups here, you need to feel the pain that you're feeling. You may lose a lot in this change. You may lose a lot in this change. Again, maybe not people, but it can be your lifestyle. Maybe your lifestyle mattered a lot to you. You need to, with the Knight of Cups, open yourself up and allow yourself to feel. Allow your heart to break open. Don't put your feelings away. Don't allow yourself to just shut down. With oppression here, yes, of course, you may come from a pretty fucked up environment. A lot of fucked up things can happen and are happening already and will happen in this huge transformation. A lot of wonderful things can happen and are happening and will happen as well. But this is what all changes bring, for the good and the bad. It's always cycles after cycles after cycles, and you're definitely understanding cycles here. You're going from 1 to 21, and you're having a stop at 20 here as well. You're getting this. You understand cycles, so that's at least good for you. Having the Seven of Pentacles twice, I think it's a very important message. And I think it's an important message to understand, like, what you think is failure in your life right now. What do you think you failed at, or who failed you? Life failed you. The institutions failed you. Your family failed you. Look at that, examine it, feel into it. That's what this whole assessment is about. It's just to understand what you're taking with you and what you're not. I'm going to read this Seven of Stones. Okay. Stand still. The stones have no pattern. Let me see. Wait, what? Yeah. The stones have no pattern as activity loses purpose without sacred connection. A sick tree bursts open, but the sky is clear, a sign of renewal. So there's some type of disharmony. Without careful redirection, failure is possible. Look into what you're afraid of. That's where you find you get a lot of gain from just looking at what you're afraid is gonna fail and what you're generally afraid of. Use fear as your ally to inform you. Don't push it away. Feel it. Feel it and feel the mourning that's going to come with it. See what is it that you're trying to put away. What is it that you're trying to not feel? Don't believe it. Don't believe that story. These are source energy. These are stories of failure. This is not stories of pain. You're trying to make sense out of your pain by painting a picture in your mind that usually ends up working against us. But you see, this is it's a full cycle. It's a full cycle that you're going through in this time period that you set yourself for. That can literally happen in a day. Sometimes we can be facing our entire lifetime's fears. Allow the change to happen, opening the heart, allow the mourning, and start sailing the new reality as it is. It can take a week. It can take a month. I hope you did put a time period for yourself. If not, just feel into it. Just know that this is not in vain. There's a lot to gain by simply, okay, I'm sorry, it's not simply, it's nothing is simple about this. And I don't want to minimize the pain that you're going through and the fear that you're feeling. That, as I said, it's very justified. Definitely don't judge it. I mean, judgment is not about judging your fear. It's about waking up to understand that this is your soul journey and that you are ending a chapter of your karmic journey here, the judgment. All right. Okay, let's see what this card says here with the all-encompassing hand. This is number 20. Okay. It's a very long poem from Rumi. So you are the essence of my existence. Who am I? A mirror in your hand. Whatever you do, I will do. I'm your irresistible reflection. With every breath, I feel my heart is beating with yours. In your joy, I am exuberant. In your sadness, I am in sorrow. If you are bitter, I become bitter. If you are grace, I become grace. My joy is when I am bewildered in your beauty and taste the sweetness of love on your lips. If I pick a rose without you, it becomes a thorn in my hand. If I am the thorn, I become the rose in your hand. Rumi. Okay. So perhaps you are in need of reassurance, dearest one. Perhaps you have been feeling somewhat alone on your path, or struggling with a matter deep within your precious, beautiful heart, and speaking of it to no one. Oh, this Three of Swords for sure. Such loneliness that can foster in the heart, with no other to bear witness to your life experience. You may question your life, your sanity, your truths, and create doubt where no doubt need be. This must stop now. You are worthy of so much more, and this suffering is not essential for your growth now. It is time to let it be and open up to the touch of grace. This suffering, I'll read this again. You are worthy of so much more, and this suffering is not essential for your growth now. It is time to let it be and open to the touch of grace. So this oracle comes to you as the hand of the divine. It is the all-encompassing hand, the hand that has no limitation upon the blessings it can bestow, upon the troubles it can lift from you, upon the tenderness it can communicate to you through the sacred touch. Do not let old shame, guilt, or mistaken notions of false independence keep you from accepting this heavenly hand. His hand reaches to gently wipe away tears of the past. It will deftly unravel the ties that have bound your own hands, preventing you from fully giving and receiving according to your worth, which is incontestable and without limit. This divine hand will reach for you in your meditations, your sleep, and your prayers. It will reach for you through the life circumstances, through the smile or hug you receive from another, maybe no hugs now, or the touch of another human being. Oops. It will reach you through the song of a bird, the falling of leaves, the soft fur of a beloved pet, through the song lyrics that seem to speak what you're feeling deep inside, or the colorful dress, the stranger across the street who catches your eye and makes you smile. The divine hand is reaching for you now through this oracle. Look at this judgment here. That's exactly what this is bestowing upon you right now. Okay, so this oracle comes with a particular message for you. There may be a situation or circumstance in your life that you may feel is somehow unable to be solved. This oracle comes with reassurance that there is nothing beyond the reach of the divine hand of grace. All can be solved. All can be resolved. There is always a higher, better, more beautiful outcome possible. You are asked to pray using the sacred honoring ritual and to do so with conviction. The divine has this situation in hand and is all unfolding as it should be. Ask for help each day by saying, I ask for help this day in all ways through unconditional love. Thank you. You can be more specific in your request, asking for help in a particular relationship or a project too, if you wish. The divine wants to lend you a hand, so you must ask for help first, however, so ask. Empower that all-powerful hand of grace to bless your life and all circumstances, relationships, and situations that have been or are yet to be for you. Okay, I will read the sacred honoring ritual, though usually I don't. So, place one hand resting upon the other with palms joined together. Say aloud, through the loving grace of Rumi, brother of my soul who loves me without condition, these hands are now blessed as the hands of the lover and the beloved, as the one divine hand all-encompassing. I am blessed, protected, nurtured, and received. I am touched by the divine with compassionate mercy and loving tenderness. I call on the hand of grace to touch, heal, bless, and protect all aspects of myself and my life journey. Through divine grace, so be it. Simply rest with your hands in the same posture for several moments, then finish your ritual. If you wish, you may continue by speaking in prayer to the divine and offer up any issue or concern you have. Give it a voice. It doesn't matter how small or major the issue may seem. Talk it over with the great beloved, a wonderful and responsive listener. When you are finished, place your hands in prayer, bow your head, and simply say thank you. You have completed your sacred honoring ritual. Do this ritual only if it makes sense to you, of course. But you can always do an equivalent of this, something that makes sense to you from wherever tradition you're coming or belief system. You don't need to believe in gods or believe in certain deities in order to pray or ask or things like this. Make it your own, but do it. You have nothing to lose. It will, if it helps, pray to your own heart, your higher self, your unconditional love, to the universe, the wisdom of the universe. I'm sure you have that wisdom. I wish you all the best. By number 3, I hope this makes sense to you. And I really, really hope it's been helpful. If it's helpful, if it resonates with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, make the best of this time as it is. Allow yourself to clear out that broken heart. Sending lots of love and support. I will come back with more readings, not just the monthlies for the every sign. I think I'm gonna do more readings for this period because it's difficult for all of us, and we could all use all the guidance we can get. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. May our practice benefit all beings.